From the Washington Post, comedians made some hilarious jokes about climate change. Were they right? Hi, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Well, let's see. This one from Michelle Wolf. Climate change is a real big deal, and everyone says Mother Nature, and I do believe nature is a woman because she's trying to kill us in the most passive-aggressive way possible. It's not some sort of immediate fire, flood, or cool explosion. She's just like, what? I raised the temperature a little. Oh, are you comfortable? Maybe I wouldn't have if you'd taken out the recycling like I asked. I'm fine. That's from 2017. The Washington Post then said, a 2-degree Fahrenheit increase over the past 150 years may sound inconsequential, but research shows the incremental heating we're experiencing is pushing climate and weather events to more extremes. I love what they did with this article. Nate Bargatze, I looked up a list of what you're supposed to do for global warming as an individual. Just talk to your friends and family about it. Think about how far it goes. I had a great aunt and uncle fistfight each other at a wedding. Let me get in the middle of that fight. Any chance this fight's about global warming? Because I'd just love to get that conversation rolling. That's from 2019. Scientists say people need to talk about climate change more, but Bargatze describes how hard that task is. He's not wrong. Bit of a stretch there, Washpo. Joel Kim Booster from 2022's Psychosexual. He asks a couple in the crowd if they plan to have kids. They say yes. Joel says, so you don't believe in climate change? Wow, what an interesting way to learn that. I do think if you're having kids, knowing everything we know about the way the world is going, it's sort of like when you're at a party that you know is dying down. You get a text from a friend. They're like, hey, should I still come to the party? Yeah, jump in that Uber. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure there'll still be ice at the party by the time you get here. When what you should be doing is calling them immediately being like, don't come here. Somebody put on a podcast. Party's over. But the Washington Post points out if the U.S. meets its goal to cut emissions by half by 2030 and zero by 2020, a child born today would have less of an environmental impact per year over their lifetime. Let me jump in here. I have that lilt in my voice when I'm bemused by an article. I'm actually, if you know me in real life, I talk about the climate emergency a lot, so I don't want to diminish this article. I'm just enjoying it as host of Daily Comedy News, the juxtaposition between these jokes and these like serious points in between. That's what's making me laugh here. Interesting note from the author. I don't know if Booster knew the carbon footprint of having a child when writing this joke. Disclaimer, I opened for him on his tour about a year before his special and don't remember talking specifically about climate change or hearing this joke. Kasha Patel is your author and also a comedian. Kristen Silvis. Climate change is crazy. They got me scared about property at this point. I don't want to pay for flood insurance. I don't even have car insurance. Like Silvis jokes, flood insurance premiums are another cost that can be challenging to add to everyday expenses. Silvis told the Post, comedians have always been vessels for change. Why not make use of that platform and humanize big issues like this? Well done, Washington Post. Kumail Nanjiani. Hey, Kumail, do you think of yourself as a comedian? If I were to say comedian actor Kumail Nanjiani, what part of you would think actor comedian Kumail Nanjiani or actor writer Kumail? This from the Good One podcast. Nanjiani's answer, there was a moment earlier where you said you were a comedian, and that hurt my feelings. I was like, this MFer over here. I definitely consider myself still a comedian. I love doing it. I just haven't done it all since February 2020. That was the year I just finished shooting Eternals, and I was like, this will be the first year I do stand-up, and then it didn't happen. The hardest thing about coming back from breaks is for some reason the jokes you're doing before stop working, so you need new jokes. But it's very hard to get into the gear of writing new jokes if you're not used to being on stage. So there's always the tricky thing. For me, the big barrier to coming back is having the time to do jokes and test them out and do jokes and test them out. It's commitment. Like getting 10 great new minutes would take me a while. Weird Q&A here. Q, remember when you hosted SNL? A, yeah, I do remember when I hosted SNL. It was so weird. I was so nervous for it, but it's really not a nerve-wracking experience. It's really more than anything an exhausting experience. The week is so busy. You're going. And then I went up and did the dress rehearsal and it went great. And I was like, yes. And then I was like, oh no, that was the rehearsal. I have to do that again. When I was asked, I was like, oh, I want to write a good stand-up set. I hadn't been doing stand-up a lot and I just wrote this new 7-minute set. That was the last time I was really like trying to build a stand-up thing. Beforehand, they just told me, just so you know, sometimes Steven Spielberg comes and watches. I was doing my set and I looked over and he was like that far, like row 7. I'm talking and suddenly I was like, oh, that's definitely Steven Spielberg. If you watch it, you can see the moment I spot him and I stumble for a little bit. You'll know exactly what moment it is. I take a deep breath and I look away and then I go back to it. From Ghana Web, Dave Chappelle has revealed that Jay-Z has made some investment properties in Ghana. According to a report from Ghana Web, Chappelle made the disclosure at a private event at the University of Ghana saying that Jay-Z showed him pictures of the properties when he informed him about his plans to visit Ghana. The Jewish Chronicle caught up with Ari Shaffir. He said superstars on TV are done. But there's so many guys who own houses, and that wasn't a possibility before. You were either Ray Romano or a road lifer barely getting by, having an apartment and dying at 70 with a heart attack. He says, comedy is as big as it ever was, despite those that protest comedians and hosts. Quoting Ari, podcasts and comics are the only ones making rape jokes anymore, or age jokes, and really going for it and being dirty. When you can't get it anywhere mainstream because someone might lose their job, then they come to us. He was also looking forward to playing Pittsburgh. He appreciates the city for its casual acceptance that everyone is fat. It's like donut. Yeah, you have french fries and garbage on top of your salads. And he noted Pittsburgh is a cool city like Nashville or Austin, but without the street cred. Hey, Mike Birbiglia, you booked David Letterman's show at 24. Did you realize this was a big break then? That is a premise floated to Mike Birbiglia by The Hollywood Reporter, but Big said, I think so. Throughout my 20s, every article was about me. This guy's the next big thing. Same with my 30s. Now in my 40s, I'm the veteran of comedy. People don't know how to position me because I've never had it happen to me in the Seinfeldian or Ray Romano way. It's who Ray Romano mentions in today's podcast. If you had Ray Romano and Daily Comedy News bingo, you won. That's not how bingo works, Johnny Mac. Whatever. That was Ollie by choice. When I was 30, I got a CBS sitcom pilot greenlit. Nick Kroll and Bob Odenkirk were in it with me, but it didn't get picked up. Oops, CBS executive. In that moment, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I don't want to be a sitcom star. And it's not like they don't still call. I'm everything that networks think they want. Because I smile a lot. They're like, oh, we can mold this person. This is perfect for us. I had to come to grips with the idea that the end game for me is not being rich. The end game is making something that makes me proud. Good follow-up here. The Seinfeld-Romano sitcom path is gone, but is there a Birbiglia version of Barry or Rami that's appealing? Birbig said, I love Barry, Rami, and Moa Mayer's show. But no, I don't like serialized storytelling. I'm obsessed with the 90-minute story. Everyone's like, it's the golden age of TV. Who has the time? In 90 minutes or 2 hours, I want to meet characters, understand a world, go on a journey and land somewhere that's slightly different from the beginning. I want to feel something and laugh, then walk away and talk about it with my wife. That's it. Another good question. If you took money out of the equation, would you prefer to release your work as film specials or comedy albums? Birbig said, when it comes to stand-up, I'm most interested in the audio. The imagination can do a lot of work. If you listen to a Steve Martin record from the 70s, there are visual gags, but you get a sense for it. Ira Glass taught me this about radio over the years. Audio is so intimate. You feel like you're with the person. To be clear, theater is different. It's designed that we're all there together. And has he noticed anything about his audience since pinch hitting for Jimmy Kimmel earlier in the year? Birbig said, you realize when you do something that mainstream and wide-reaching, the legitimacy that a network platform still gives you. People came out of the woodwork. Certain people were treating me like I had made it. They were like, you could do this. And I'm like, no. I do this other thing. That's your comedy news for today. Follow the show for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your shows. See you tomorrow. All right, here's the pitch. 5 stories, they're all good news. It's called 5 Good News Stories. No negative news, just good news. Nice, easy way to start your day. Hopefully a smile. Hi, I'm Johnny Mac, host of 5 Good News Stories. You get the premise? There's 5 stories, and they're all good news. It's the number 5 Good News Stories. 5 Good News Stories. Follow the show wherever you get your podcasts.